Hi, my name is Tiffany Domina, and today I wanted to talk about productivity hacks. So, if you ever struggle with trying to get stuff done, and maybe you have times when you feel like you don't get as much done as you would like to, then that's what we're going to talk about today. I've had times like that myself where maybe life just gets chaotic, and I feel like I'm not getting as much done as I would like to. And some of the systems that I'll be talking about with you today help me to stay productive, and hopefully they're helpful to you as well. That's one of the things as entrepreneurs we really have to manage and stay on top of. So I'm hoping that some of these tips that we talk about today can really help you to amp up on productivity. And I'm also hoping that if you have any tips that you can share those in the chat, and we can talk about productivity and things that we can do to be more productive in our businesses and in our lives. So hopefully you are not impacted by all of the coronavirus outbreak and things that are happening, but um, this is just one example of something that can come up and that can impact your productivity. And if you use some of these hacks, then it can help you to stay productive and regulate a um, a form of productivity. Hey, Jeremy, how are you? So, um, first, I wanted to talk about some some a book that I read that really helped with productivity, and that is The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. If you haven't yet read it, definitely check it out by Stephen Covey. He talks about prioritization, and he talks about other habits that entrepreneurs do to be successful. And productivity, managing productivity, prioritizing, and all of those things are ways of doing that. Hey, Veronica, how are you doing? So, um, definitely, these tips are like what we have to master in order to be successful in business. We have to master productivity. So, my list of, I have 8 hacks, and I'm hoping that these 8 hacks can be really helpful to you. And so, let's go ahead and talk about them. For the first one is clarity. Um, you have to really be clear about what it takes to be successful with whatever you're trying to do. If you're not clear, then it causes you to like keep either searching for answers, keep looking for a missing piece, or you end up spending a lot of time just trying to figure things out, and you end up not being productive just because you're not clear. So if you need to either find a way to educate yourself or get around a group of people who are already successful doing what you want to do, join a mastermind or something like that, all of those things can help you to get clarity, because it's really, really important in order to be productive. Um, Number 2 is don't try to find loopholes. So, all of us want to be successful as quickly as possible. I mean, who doesn't? So, all of us want to be successful as quickly as possible. And so, it's a natural desire to find a shortcut or some way that you can condense the time that you spend on reaching success. But if you spend a majority of your time doing that, then it can end up being where you aren't productive at all, because you are spending 80% of your time on experiments and 20% on actual productivity, when it should be the other way around. So you just want to be careful that even if you are looking to expand or scale or improve in some way, that you kind of you let the experimentation not monopolize your schedule, and you have to make sure of balancing that out so that you're still having productivity. So another thing is being willing to work hard. And you don't have to commit to working hard from the time you wake up to the time that you go to sleep, but you do want to make sure that you commit time blocks, at least, that you are just going to be focused and dedicated on doing whatever you have to do to be successful in your business. So, and that segues into number four, which is time blocking. So a lot of people have found time blocking to be really effective. There's different techniques like the Pomodoro technique and other techniques where you work and then you take a break, and you can work for short fragments of time, or you can work for like 30 minutes and then move into doing a different type of task, whatever works for you. For me, I like to sit down and get done and stop working when I finish the task that I'm working on. So setting like a 30-minute limit for me wouldn't work, because I just like to sit down and just hammer out the work and stop and take breaks when I feel like I've accomplished something. But you can decide what works best for you, because some of those techniques could work well for you. For me, I've used some of those techniques effectively when like I want to time myself for like how quickly I can finish a blog post, or when I was trying to learn um, how I was managing my time. Then I started to use like timekeeping software and things like that so that I can see what tasks I was doing over the course of time. And I can go back and see if there was any way for me to be more efficient, or if there was any time that I was off task. And then sometimes I can honestly say that I was focused, I was working, and maybe I didn't get to the goal that I wanted to get to. So then you can go back and analyze how you can improve what it is that you were working on so that you can get better results. So timekeeping, time tracking, time blocking, all of those things can help with productivity. Um, Another thing that's been really useful for me, and I'm definitely not the only one, is finding accountability. So for me, just telling people what I plan to accomplish over a period of time, and then reporting back to them on what I actually accomplished is really helpful. So if you say, I plan on getting 5 sales this month, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get those 5 sales, and you tell, like, maybe you do a YouTube video about it, or maybe you tell people to the point where you feel like really vulnerable. Um, that level of accountability really helps, because you feel like there's not a way out. You don't want to disappoint people. You don't want to disappoint yourself. You don't want to look like a slacker. So you work as hard as you can, because you have accountability. You have people who are waiting to see results from you. So finding accountability is really important. Whether you decide to join a mastermind group, or whether you have some type of networking community that you can share your goals with, or even, like I said, if you decide to do a blog post or a YouTube video and share it with people that you know are going to come back and expect something from you, then that level of accountability can be very helpful. Some people do income reports for that reason, or they do reporting how much productivity they're going to have. They do those things so that they can have that level of accountability. And so I would say definitely you want to make sure that you have accountability. And another thing, number six, is using software for reminders and organization. So for me, I like to use Trello. I also like to use Google Calendar. And in my phone, I like to use the iPhone calendar. But you have to decide what works best for you. There's other software like Asana, there's Notion, there's different types of software that you can add in what task you plan to accomplish. You can add in a due date, and it'll send you reminders somewhere that's easy for you to be interrupted if you were off task. So for me, I get reminders on my phone. I have my Google Calendar connected, and on Trello, I have that connected. So then, like if I want to do something like a blog post and I set the due date of today, then I would get a notification. So even if I got off task and I was doing something else, then that notification would interrupt whatever I was doing and help me to stay on track. So if you are your own boss, you really have to be a good boss of yourself. So you have to find ways to remind yourself of deadlines, set deadlines for yourself, and make sure that you're having progress. So you want to work for yourself in a way that you'll work for another business or better. And so what you do when you have a job is you have deadlines, you have projects, you have all of those things. And as a business owner, you have to sustain that same thing and just put in place different systems that can help you to stay on task. So for me, like I said, I like to use Trello, and I've I have my Trello editorial calendar. I use Trello for home management to remind me of what tasks I need to do in my house. I use Trello for just all kinds of things. What things I want to do with my kids, my personal goals, all kinds of things. So you can decide what software works best for you. But Google Calendar and Trello are two really common ones, and you can use those both for free. So those are two options. Number seven is understand what motivates you. And this is a part of self actualization. So as you're getting to know yourself, you start to get to know what you're motivated by. And if you've worked in a corporate setting before, your bosses, leaders, managers should also try to understand that so that they can they can make the team most productive. And so in your time working in a corporate setting, you might have been able to learn those things about yourself. If not, then you might be learning it on the go. Your parents might even be able to give you some good advice about what things they did to motivate you to clean your room or to do other things that might have been challenging or that you may not have felt 100% comfortable doing. Because in business, you're going to have things you really enjoy doing that makes the time just seem like it flies, but you're going to have other things that you have to do that may not be the most comfortable for you, especially when you're just starting out. So you want to make sure that you start to learn what motivates you and how you can play into that so that you can be most productive. Um, and then finally, I have this. Um, this is something that is mostly used for kids, but you see it says my rewards on it, and then it has jobs I have done, extra jobs I have done, and then it's like it keeps score, and then you have a grand total, and you get a reward. So that's something that is good to use to motivate yourself. And I'm not saying you have to use a worksheet just like this, but the basic system is that you have certain tasks that you want to get done over the course of a week, over the course of the quarter, over the course of the year, and you write those tasks down. And then you also have a milestone that once you complete these tasks, then this is going to be the reward for completing those tasks. And um, so if you don't have a reward system to positively reinforce yourself, that's something you may want to think about because it's really helpful. It's helpful for me with my kids. It's helpful for you read about it in leadership books and business books. It's just a helpful thing to do is to have a system in place to reward yourself and reward the people around you for positive things that they do. So positive reinforcement. And here goes another one. Now this is just funny, but um, it's something that you can use for kids to say what things you do, like what things they need to do, what responsibilities they have, what they have in their room, what they have for their family, what they have for their school. And as an entrepreneur, you can also add what responsibilities you have for your business, because really that's your responsibility to your community. So um, now you might have a little bit more complex things on there because we're adults and that's for kids. And it says things like shower, bath, and brush your teeth in the morning, brush your teeth in the evening, dress yourself on time. Um, in business, it could be more like whatever marketing task you have. Maybe you hand out business cards, or you attend live events, or you write blog posts, or you um, maybe you do podcasts, or you do videos, or YouTube lives like this one. So whatever marketing tasks you have maybe on your weekly responsibilities, and then you may have maybe your bookkeeping and various other things that you do in order to keep your business running. But it's good to have those tasks and then to be able to see what you're accomplishing and what you've completed. So for me, that's one thing I really like about having an editorial calendar, and also with tracking my business plan live. And where can you find these worksheets? Actually, um, I got these from a therapist. They told me that they gave them to me. A friend gave them to me because she said they were really helpful with her clients to motivate her clients that come to her for therapy. So um, she gave these to me, and I thought they were great for business use as well. Not directly, but I just thought that um, it could work very well to help stay motivated in business if you had something like that. So if you're interested in having something like that for business, let me know, because I can actually make something like that. And I have the business plan templates at How to Entrepreneur that you can check out, and they work very similar to that. I have the marketing task, the accounting task, and all of those things that you track similar to this. And then I also have the editorial calendar download that you can check out as well. So if you're interested in something like that, definitely stop by howtoentrepreneur.com and check out those resources there. And I also did something else, but it's more like for people who are starting out online and want to know what are good goals to have the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, all of that. Um, so yeah, I haven't put that anywhere, but maybe I should. um, so does that sound like something that's interesting to you? Okay, so let me get back to it. So I said create a reward plan for positive reinforcement as my final one, and I showed you these examples. But so the to recap, um, you want to be clear about what's required for success in whatever business you're trying to do. You want to avoid finding loopholes, because that can really send you on in a rabbit hole where you're just finding how can you get to this shorter, how can you reach this goal shorter, and you could be reading and reading and watching videos about how other people do things so that you can find loopholes. You can completely um, get rid of all of your productivity by doing that. At some point, you just have to decide to start taking action and just keep going, because your practice will cause you to get more efficient and better at things, and then you'll find ways to use less time and get more results. So that just comes with practice, and also with networking and accountability and the other things that we mentioned. Number three was be willing to work hard. Number four is to time block, or use timekeeping software, time tracking software. Those are some things that I mentioned when talking about time blocking. But basically, finding a method of segregating time slots so that you can just focus. Um, and Number five, find accountability. Number six, use software for reminders and organization. Number seven, understand what motivates you. And finally, number eight, create a reward plan for positive reinforcement. So those are the 8 productivity hacks that I have for business, and I like to hear what you think and what questions you have about productivity. What stops you from being productive in your business, and what do you do about it? So, if you have any questions or you have any comments about productivity, now is the floor is open. So, I want to hear what you have to say. So, if you don't have any questions, then I'll wait for a few minutes and see if there's any questions about productivity, anything, any comments, any concerns. And if I don't hear anything, then I will call it a close. So it looks like mostly everybody is super productive all the time, right? I know this is a common thing that we all go through, and you can have periods where you are very productive, and you can have periods where you slow down, and it can be because maybe more things happen in personal life, or maybe more conflict has arisen, or all kinds of things can cause you to have periods where your productivity is a roller coaster. So Jeremy said, I guess I fear of not getting it right. And yeah, but it's practice, practice, practice. I agree. I think that definitely, that for me, that goes back to clarity. When you feel clear about what you need to do, then a lot of times you feel more capable of doing it. But when you're not clear, then it's like you feel like, is it something you're missing that other people already know? Is it some secret out there? And then you can end up going on the rabbit hole of trying to find loopholes, or trying to find solutions. So those two things are really major. And I agree with you that fear of not getting it right can really be a problem. So for me, and I'm not the only one that says this. I've heard other people say it too, but done is better than perfect. So you definitely want to focus on completion, focus on progress, focus on being productive instead of being perfect. Even when I started on YouTube, I knew that I was not the best YouTuber. I knew that I didn't know how to edit video. I knew that I didn't have that much experience in front of the camera. I knew certain things would be disadvantages. But at the same time, I said, I know it's a method that I can use to reach more people, and it's something that I can get better at. And I was willing to just go for it. And I think that's what you have to do. You have to just decide that you're just gonna go for it. And you may be imperfect, but you get it done. And the funny thing is, a lot of people who really are very good in front of the camera, they might be really good at editing and have all of the skills, but they weren't willing to actually publish anything. And so, um, one person is making progress and the other person is not. And the other person actually had more skills. So it's really important to go for it, and not to be overly focused um, on perfection. Perfectionism really can hurt you. So thanks for bringing that up, Jeremy. So any more questions or comments? Anything that you notice really stops you from being productive, or ways that you get around um, those slumps that you have when you are not productive? One funny thing about being live, this is a side comment, but being live on YouTube versus being live in person, you can actually see people and see their expressions and things like that. When you're on YouTube, it's like, and when you don't see anything in the chat box, you don't hear anybody, then you don't know if you don't know what's going on. So definitely, if you have messages or you have comments about this, definitely put them in the chat box, because otherwise there's no communication coming this way. So okay, so I'm too much of a perfectionist. Yeah. um yeah, definitely. I think that's not something that just changes overnight, going from being a perfectionist to, um, you know, just overcoming that. It's not something that changes overnight, but it's something that you have to start disciplining yourself to just say, now it's done. For you, time blocking may work very well, and also setting limits or deadlines on yourself to say that after like 4 hours from now, I'm gonna start this blog post, and after 4 hours, I'm publishing it, rain or shine. Um, you may have to start doing that just so that you don't overanalyze things. And having an editorial calendar could really be helpful for you as well, since I know that you are doing online business. Um, but having an editorial calendar probably would be really, really helpful, because you can write down what you plan on accomplishing and then set a deadline for it. And you can even set the deadline down to the time. So then you know that, like, perfectionism can't be the reason why you don't publish anything. Um, so I would say deadlines. So I know that in business, if we're not productive, then we end up having to go back and get a job or find another way of making an income. And it's not a cool thing to happen, especially if your desire is to start and grow a business. You don't want to um, you don't want to fail at that. And productivity is one of the key things you have to have in order to succeed. And so Well, you're welcome, Jeremy. So that's all I have. I had the 8 tips, and I hope they were really helpful for you. If it was, please leave a thumbs up. And if you like to see more videos like this, where I do product and service reviews as well as growth strategies to help you grow a business, then definitely subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon so you can be notified of upcoming videos. And that's all I have for this one. I really hope to see you in the next one, possibly even live. So have a great day. Bye.